This meeting is being conducted. Hold on. You plugged in? I'm plugged in. There you go. There you go. We're in. This meeting is being conducted in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act. Notice this meeting has been provided by advertisement in the Cape May Star and Wave and on the Township website and has been posted on the bulletin boards of Township Hall.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Conrad.
Here.
Councilmember Neville.
Here.
Councilmember Henderson. Here. Deputy Mayor Clark.
Here.
Mayor Beck.
Here. Okay, we move right down to the consent agenda. Council comments or questions on the consent agenda? That's all right. I hear you. Council, you okay? We have public comment on the consent agenda. Close the public portion. There you go. There you go.
Approval of minutes from October 7th, 2013, and resolution number 2013-275 and 2013-276.
Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Councilmember Conrad.
Yes.
Councilmember Neville.
Yes.
Councilmember Henderson.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Clark.
Yes.
Mayor Beck.
Yes.
Regular agenda.
There you go.
Resolution number 2013-277, a resolution authorizing the payment of vouchers in the amount of $15,200. This is for the Rescue Squad and Jacqueline Henderson.
Okay. Do I have any council questions regarding this resolution? Open up to public comment on this resolution. May close the public portion. Do I have a motion to approve?
I move to approve. I'll second it.
Councilmember Conrad.
Abstain.
Councilmember Neville.
Yes.
Councilmember Henderson.
Abstain?
Deputy Mayor Clark.
Yes.
Mayor Beck.
Yes.
Ordinance number 2013-21. An ordinance amending Chapter 475 of the Parks and Recreation Areas Ordinance of the Township of Lower. This ordinance sets forth the rules and regulations and rental fees for the Lower Township Millman Community Center. This is the second reading and the public hearing, and the ordinance has been made available to the public.
Okay. Council comments or question? Open up to public comments on this ordinance. Close the public portion. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Councilmember Conrad.
Yes.
Councilmember Neville.
Yes.
Councilmember Henderson.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Clark.
Yes.
Mayor Beck.
Yes.
Ordinance number 2013-22. An ordinance revising and restating Chapter 600 of the Revised General Ordinances of the Township of Lower. This ordinance sets forth the rules and regulations of the Township Rotary Towing and Storage. This is the second reading and public hearing, and copies of this ordinance have been made available to the public.
Okay. Council comments or questions? All right. Open up for public comments or questions. Okay, close the public portion. Do I have a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Councilmember Conrad.
Yes.
Councilmember Neville.
Yes.
Councilmember Henderson.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Clark.
Yes.
Mayor Beck.
Yes.
Ordinance number 2013-23. An ordinance amending Chapter 400 of the Land Development Ordinance of the Township of Lower. This ordinance seeks to adopt the New Jersey public law to allow certain structures to be raised as high as the highest applicable flood elevation standard. This is the second reading and public hearing, and the copies of this ordinance have been made available to the public.
Okay. Council comments?
Yes, I just want the public to understand this is not us agreeing with any flood maps or anything. This is just giving permission if someone has to raise their home, there's not going to be an issue.
So they don't have to soil off the top of it if they're already at 35
Yeah, we don't
feet
wanna-
or something like that. We frown on that part. Okay, is there public comment? Yes,
Potter from the village. We're speaking about that now and about the FEMA thing, and when it goes up like that, this would be in compliance with many other townships that to raise it from 35 feet to maybe 40 feet or 45. So there would be certain properties in the townships that wouldn't be as far as FEMA if they come in and if the floodplains exist yet. But hopefully that the council is working on that with the floodplains maps and all to try to get this straightened out along the bay here, which is different.
This is
than
correct.
the ocean.
This is a good segue into the fact that Friday, November 1st at 6 o'clock will be the meeting with FEMA. The one that was canceled due to the
From the 18th?
government shutdown, yeah.
Okay.
So this Friday, November 1st at 6 o'clock. And it'll be a joint meeting. It'll be held here, but it'll involve Middle Township also.
All right, Middle Township being
Or
involved, at least that's a decent time compared to 4 o'clock
Right.
for the last one, so more people will be able to attend it, and hopefully we get things straightened out along the
Right.
bay here. Thank you for your time.
Okay. Okay, so is there any other questions on this ordinance? I close the public portion. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Councilmember Conrad?
Yes.
Councilmember Neville?
Yes.
Councilmember Henderson?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Clark?
Yes.
Mayor Beck?
Yes. Move down to administrative reports. Is there any council comments on the administrative reports? Open up for council comments. Councilman Tom?
Wonderful event this weekend, Oktoberfest. Hopefully Town Bank's going to do it again if anyone got to attend. Weather's nice. We should be, hopefully the leaves will be falling and we'll know when we're going to do the leaf pickup soon. Other than that, that's...
Yeah, I was at Oktoberfest. It was a wonderful event. I wish one of these years they can get 3 straight days of sun where everybody can enjoy it rather than a little bit of drizzle. And to belabor the point, once again, the next meeting is going to be the day before election, so everybody that knows anybody, vote no on the school question. And with that, I'm done.
Okay.
I just had the opportunity last week to go to the Fall Talent Show at Lower Cape May Regional that had 15 separate acts of between freshmen and seniors who were able to display their various talents. And I have to say, it was a wonderful evening. We have some talented students that live here in Lower and also West Cape May and Cape May. If you get the opportunity, they'll have another one in the fall. I highly suggest it. Make a date night out of it or such. They are a wonderful group of students. I also wanted to remind residents of the Haunted High School that will be happening this Friday, the 25th. It's from 5:30 to 7 o'clock. It's open to all children in Lower Township, Cape May, and West Cape May. So high school definitely invites you to come over and bring your kids, grandkids, and such, and enjoy a nice family-friendly evening there. And it's indoors, so you don't have to worry about the weather. And that's all.
Speaking of the students, yesterday 250 people came to Cape May Convention Hall with an international program, educational program called TEDx Cape May. And we were well represented with our students. This was an opportunity for people from around the country to talk about ideas to make their community better, ideas to make the economy better in their communities. We had a woman from Alabama who was featured on CBS Evening News. She came up to talk about how she turned her town around by starting 3 businesses. We had our Cape May Brewery represented talking about how he went from 2 employees to 20 employees. We also especially had 30 students and families from the high school that were sponsored by the New Jersey Education Association to come. Many of them were there with ideas. They were talking to business leaders about the ideas they were having. And we also had a student that was selected by the student body to talk about how he had overcome OCD. And it was a tremendous experience. And there'll be videos of these online so you can see some of them. But it was very encouraging to see the young people thinking about ways they can help their community and their economy. Thank you.
Real quick, I know you got announcements. Salt Claire sitting out there, I forgot. The Pumpkin Festival at Cold Spring Village. The costumes were great, and I want to thank Cold Spring Village for hosting it again in conjunction with the Recreation Department. It's a wonderful event if you ever get to go to it. And it's a free way to go just walk around Cold Spring Village and actually see what they have. The country store is pretty neat.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so this is important, and we're going to have to get the message out, which is Friday, November 1st, 6 o'clock. FEMA hosting a meeting here at Town Hall. It's not only, and it was pointed out last time, it's for all of the residents that are in the new maps, the BFE. It's not just the people on the bayfront, but there's a whole bunch of individual houses that have been put into some of the zones. And, you know, we are fighting it. It would be great if somehow the light bulb went on with FEMA representatives and they were to give us some cause to believe that there could be some adjustments made. But barring that happening, I would anticipate that we're probably going to have to move forward and recommend to council that we hire our own wave analyst and expert to kind of refute these, and perhaps in conjunction with Middle Township. I see that in the crystal ball. It's like all we do is hire experts to fight the school referendum. I think we're looking forward to the next meeting to hiring our third expert for our fight against the schools, the referendum, the initiative by Cape May City to withdraw from the school funding district. We're not going to allow it to happen, but it's going to cost us money. And there's nothing we can do about that, so we're going to have to move forward. And there is an attempt by Cape May City to stop the referendum in a lawsuit against, but the county basically is involved with that. We're kind of more or less waiting to see the results of that. So as far as we're concerned, we're preparing as if the referendum will be on the ballot. And it's, as you can see from the sign sitting up front, we're taking seriously what we said before, which is that we'd have a game plan to make sure our residents are aware of how important this issue is to Lower Township schools. Okay, so now we have Saturday, October 26th, the Haunted Trail from 7 to 9 at the airport grounds. And Eileen spent, Saturday and Sunday over there setting your place up, right? Mm-hmm. And you got to get there early. Anybody who's ever been there, it's really a fantastic show. So that's this Saturday, right? 7 to 9 at the airport. Then we have basketball registrations October 19th through November 3rd at the Rec Center. All right, that's the 19th through the 3rd at the Rec Center. And wrestling registrations, and the note I have is call the rec department for details. I'm not sure what that is specifically. They've extended the registrations, okay. So, that being, everybody got their comments? That being said, we'll now open up for a call to the public. If you have a comment, step forward and state your name. Yes, sir.
Good evening, gentlemen, ladies. My name is Tom Frizzoli, and I reside in the Villas. I have two things I want to state. Number one, I want council to know how much I appreciate the animal control officers in this township. There was an incident in our neighborhood on Saturday night late where a little dog was hit by a vehicle, hit and run, broken leg it looked like. We called the police, and within 10 minutes they were there. They ran up and down the streets for almost an hour. They captured this dog. They brought it in. Within 2 hours, the owners found it. The next day, a similar thing happened with another dog. And I bring this up because if we didn't have our own animal welfare, these animals would be taken up to Upper Township, or to Dr. Hollins, which is up there, and it's important we can support them as there is. Secondly, I'm going to be careful what I say in public, because last month I think I got beat up pretty good. And as you know, I come to many council meetings, and I've come to the decision, I guess I can get up and speak freely when it's time for an election or re-election for certain councilmen, because I saw that happen for many years. But other than that, I don't want to disturb you. Thank you.
Anybody else wish to address council?
William Don, Lower Township. As Mr. Beck alluded to a few moments ago, take notice of the sign up front here. It's very important. Take notice of them signs in the back. They're also important. We were here a month ago, 2 weeks ago, and you guys at that time didn't listen to any tapes or know anything. I'm just wondering if you're aware of what's going on down the MUA now.
Can I address that? Mr. Dunn, push this in. Mr. Dunn, we are very aware of what's going on down there. We're aware of what happened on Thursday night. We are aware that there's a prosecutor's investigation going on, that three attorneys have been, independent attorneys, have been retained to look into just about every aspect of what's going on there. This is just a process that's just beginning, and this board has to wait to see what the outcome of those investigations are. There may be a point in time where this board has to take some action, but at this present point in time, from our perspective, it appears that the MUA is doing everything they can do up to this point. When we get the results of those investigations, we may be in a position to change our position with regard to getting involved. But as it presently stands, with ongoing prosecutorial investigations going on, with ongoing attorneys handling all the different aspects of this case, we really aren't free to discuss the matter. Okay, we understand you have a position. We basically understand all the positions that have been brought up because we've heard it from many different perspectives. Okay.
Can I take time a second just to let everyone know what the decision was the other day? Because I'm sure people are being kept in the dark.
If you want to, you can mention it.
That's what I choose to do.
What we try to do, we are aware of most of what's going on.
And I'll limit it.
But if there's some things that you think that we need to be pointed out particularly, we certainly can and will listen, but we can't discuss it.
I understand that.
Okay.
So what I want to say is, the other evening there was a meeting at our board. Mr. Eckert, doesn't matter what the vote was, he was given a 60-day vacation. All right, with pay. This man has charges pending, possibly, from the prosecutor's office. He's hit an employee who now, from what I understand, there's township charges. He's got all kinds of things going against him. And they give him 60 days off with pay and a company vehicle, which he was using down here today harassing people. Number one. On my end, I've been out of work for 2.5 months without a dime of pay on charges they can't prove. Now, does this board feel that they're doing their job down there? You have 2 board members being stonewalled by 3 of Eckert's buddies.
Well, like I said, an investigation is going on to get to the bottom of all that.
Yeah, the investigation isn't what I'm talking about. The investigation is from the prosecutor's office. We're talking about the way these employees are being treated.
Well,
and what Mr. Eckert's given. I'm 2 months out of work without pay.
Well,
and Mr. Eckert?
My understanding is
60-day paid vacation? I don't understand it.
Well, my understanding is that attorneys have been retained to get to the bottom of those issues as well.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think that there's anything that's been brought up that isn't being addressed.
Right.
It may take some time for them to get to the answer.
Okay.
And
yeah, and I don't understand.
That answer could very well be in your favor. We don't know.
All I'm asking is that the board takes their time and looks into 60 days suspension with pay. The man is making how many thousands of dollars to sit home with a company vehicle. And here I am sitting in this township, 2 months out of work, trying to raise 2 children and pay my taxes in this township. This man doesn't even live in this township. So I just want everybody to know that. I hope you guys do your due diligence, and I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
My name is Jana Bailey. I live in the township, in the villas. I've been a taxpayer for 10 years. I'm also on paid leave of absence from the MUA for charges that, again, they can't prove and are kind of and my issue now is our office at the MUA was outsourced about 3 years ago to an outside company, and they just, at the special meeting last week, hired another secretary to work in the office, which has been outsourced. So it's just, and she started today, and they just got authorization to hire her on Wednesday, so that was a little strange to me. It's just, I don't know, I just hope that you guys can look into it a little bit. and see what's going on.
Like I said, every aspect's being looked
I
at.
know, I appreciate
And
it.
at the appropriate time, the council will decide whether any action needs to be taken by us, or by then, action may have already been taken by the MUA, we don't know.
Okay, thank you, I appreciate it, thank you.
How you doing? My name is Adam Wachowski. I live at 40 East Greenwood in the Villas. And I just want to let you guys know that I've had this man stop by my house. I have a wife with a heart problem, and I did not let her in on everything that was going on because of her heart problems. She has a pacemaker at the age of 30. And this man stopped by my house, and for what reason I couldn't figure out, but ranting and raving out front of my house. I have it on video. And then I had to enlighten my wife about what was going on, which I didn't want to keep her out.
I assume you've made all these things known to the people who are doing their investigation, and the hearing officers that are looking into the matter.
I haven't spoke with any other lawyer but my own.
Okay, but you have someone actually looking into it and presenting that information for you.
Yes. That's all I have to say.
Don Adams, I also work at Lower Township MUA. I just hope that you folks realize that the longer this investigation goes on, the more it costs us ratepayers to work and live in this township. And if we have to have a rate increase in the next near budget year, it may be a result of all the money we're paying out to Mr. Eckert and all the outside lawyers that they're bringing in to investigate something that is obviously a problem. Please consider making this thing move along quickly. It's only going to cost us more money as ratepayers. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jesse Matzinger. I reside at 104 Old Mill Drive, North Cape May. I've lived in this community since I was 5 years old. I grew up here. I started in West Cape May. I moved to North Cape May on 104 Old Mill Drive at 5. I've raised four kids, 3 of them which are in college today. I hear every one of you preach you want a good community, a fair community, a community without heroin, because the heroin is running rapid in this place. I've done my part in this community. I have one kid being a physicist, one kid at SUNY University getting a PhD. I have another one mental health degree. I've done my part to make our community, every one of you, everyone here, a good community. I've raised my kids respectful. They don't hang out on streets. I got one to go, and I'm pretty sure he's going to college too. Now, we have a problem at the MUA, a serious problem. I sat at a board meeting, the special board meeting, and when they went to close agenda, I heard Mr. Nels Johnson state to every other board member there that I instigated Matt Eckert to hit me, that I made him hit me, that I knew that Matt Eckert wasn't in a good way. This is his exact words. He yelled it. It was like, when they went in the board meeting, it went silent in the regular meeting room, and you could hear everything they said. Matt Eckert accused me, Nels Johnson accused me of instigating to have Matt hit me. Would you, someone that was raped, would you say they were dressed provocatively?
All I can say is the things that you're saying now are all going to be part of the investigation over that incident.
There's a tape, and Mr. Matt Eckert states 3 times on that tape that he says, "You want to know why I pushed you? Because I'm looking for that mother effer. And when I find him, he better hope I'm in a good mood." I asked Mr. Eckert, "Why did you hit me? Why'd you hit me? Why'd you strike me? Why are you physically lashing out at me?" And he said, "Because I'm mad." He did not say, "I didn't hit you." And I know every one of you have listened to that tape. Nowhere in that tape does he ever say, "I did not hit you."
But Mr. Matzinger, all of this information is going to be considered by the council that's been hired, and they're going to come to a determination. They're going to have the time to look into both sides and try to figure out, we understand your position, and we don't know if there's another position.
Does council know that his families here are good families? And just like you need our support at time when we're voting, you need our support at time to vote. Well, now these voters need your support. We need you guys to step up and do what's right. Put pressure on that board. You elect them, you put them in their positions. They're obviously not doing what they're supposed to do. A paid vacation for a guy that makes over $100,000 a year isn't we pay for housing. We're your community.
Okay, well,
So we need you. We need you to step up. Just like we've raised our family to be good people in the community, we need you guys to step up and help your community.
Mr. Matzinger, we understand everything that you've told us, and all these things are being investigated, and at the appropriate time, it will be considered.
When a board member says that the person instigated the guy to hit him, Matt Eckert to hit him, there's a problem. And there was probably 20 people in that room that heard that statement. So when a board member is that one-sided, here's a problem. Now, I can quite honestly tell you that Nels Johnson and Matt Eckert were golfing the day before the board meeting at Gentilini Ford golf outing. They were actually golfing. Now, how one-sided can you get?
But all of this information that you're giving us is all going to be part of the investigation that's being done.
I do understand that, but what I'm saying is we need your support.
Excuse me.
We need your support as councilmen, as the mayor. You appoint our board. You assembled them, you can take them apart.
Well, first of all, we are aware that the board had a meeting Thursday. It appears at this time that they're taking whatever action can be taken. We need to see the results of the 3 attorneys that were hired and of the investigation that's going on.
The results of the board came to the conclusion that Matt Eckert deserved a 60-day paid vacation.
Well, I don't think that's a conclusion. That was probably a temporary measure to try to diffuse the situation for the time being. But when everything is known, then justice will be had. I'm confident of that.
I'm just, fellas, and I'm not being nasty, we're just looking for a fair shake is what we're trying to say. There was a backdoor deal made the other night. There was a 3-2 vote before anybody even walked into that door the other night. The done deal. I heard the day before that Matt Eckert was suspended. All right? From a very reliable source. So there was a deal done before that meeting even took place. That is what we're up against down there. That's why we're asking you, Lay, to step in. Because Tom Prezzowi, Pete Bitting, don't have a shot down there. Not a shot. Because it's 3 votes immediately all the time.
Well, Mr. Dunn, the 3 firms that were hired to come in and handle us are independent firms.
I understand, and I'm not asking about the independent.
They're
I'm
going to
talking
come
about
up
the way our
with
board's
an
being ran.
objective analysis, I do believe.
I understand what you're saying, and we are waiting for that. But the way our board is being ran, it is a brick wall. Okay, Nels Johnson, obviously, I played golf with you yesterday. You're not going to vote against me tomorrow. All right, that's what we're up against. Thank you very
For me,
much.
golf is one expensive habit I don't have.
We're a different residents in the villas, but I live in Green Creek. I was a former employee of the MUA. Just like to let you know, one thing, a little side note to how, can I say a name and see if you guys are comfortable with them working for you? Remington Burnick. Was there any heat there between the township and Remington? No. Well, from what I understood, the taxpayers didn't want to have them here anymore, and you guys fought a lot to get rid of them as the engineers, so to speak. Maybe correct me if I'm wrong. Is there no comment to that?
Like I said, Mr. Porter, we can't discuss the specifics.
No, this isn't anything to do with the actual MUA, though. I just like, ratepayers.
We don't understand your question. You're asking why does the MUA hire Remington Verenick?
Oh, do they?
I don't know. Is that what you're asking?
Well, the whole board actually agreed on it in closed session that they would love to have them come in and manage it instead of Matt being paid, but then they opted for Matt being paid. But I just figured, the guys you guys appoint down there, they're still happy with Remington Vernick's outlook on things. Their management skills are a little off. Secondly, I'd like to tell you that on Broadway I had a job today, and Matt Ecker in his nice Explorer, which I don't know how after, you know, your car's not even 10 years old and you can get a new municipal card that's actually used. It's tagged up. It wasn't tagged up, but he's suspended. Now it's tagged up with a state tag. How'd that get there? Secondly, he stops at my job multiple times. Guess who's with him? Nels Johnson in an MG tagged Explorer, okay? And then he stopped towards the end of the job as I'm filling out a report for the police department because I have a long chainsaw that was stolen from me today, right off the job. Matt stops by, grabs his groin and told me to suck it. That's what you guys need to know, what this guy is capable of. He hates me, and you guys now know that. You can't turn away from him. That's all I got to say.
Does anybody else have any comments on any other issue?
I have an issue on this issue. How you doing? My name is Joe Barber, and I live in North Cape. I'm a registered voter, and I was wondering if all you who don't live in the township or anything like that are going to look into this issue before Election Day. Will you look into this before Election Day, or is it going to be after Election Day? So that way you can push it off on whoever does get in or doesn't get in at that time.
Well, the investigation is going to take however long it takes. We can't act without information.
Okay, so then that's what you're saying, is you're not going to do anything until after Election Day, until after all this is done.
You can't act without evidence.
Good.
Well, it has to be weighed. It has to be weighed, and people have been hired to do that.
Okay, at whose expense? The ratepayers or the MUA's pay?
Well,
Or ours?
it seems to me that this expense has been spread out. I mean, we've got the county who's doing, the county prosecutors are doing a investigation, and that's on the county taxpayers. And the other stuff probably on the ratepayers, but it's being spread around. But
Probably or definitely on the ratepayers?
But from looking around this room and hearing the comments that all of you folks have made, it's a matter that most certainly needs to be looked into in detail.
Okay.
And that's what they're doing.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep. Yeah, won't look until before Election Day.
Good evening. My name's Sue Bailey. I'm from Harlem. I served on the Board of Commissioners for 4 years, and I was chair for 1. And I just have a statement to make. I am embarrassed to have served on that board, and I never used to be. I used to be very proud of it. But what upsets me more than anything is it's ratepayer dollars. You said 3 firms? 3 firms. 3
Well,
firms.
some of them are hearing officers.
Okay, whatever. They still have to be paid. They also have a private investigator that they paid. For what? If that doesn't scream guilt, I don't know what does. Thank you.
Eric Simonson, Lower Township, Mayor, Council. I just had a question. This is the open public portion of the meeting, correct?
It is.
Okay. Why at the last meeting were none of our citizens allowed to speak openly here at an open public meeting?
The reason, first of all, that was my decision. Because what had happened was, this situation had just come to light. It had been presented to the MUA board where everyone had gone and presented their matters. It was maybe 4 business days later that everyone was here. We didn't have any information with which to.
But you weren't asked to comment on it. They
Well,
wanted
actually,
to.
we were asked to comment on it. We told you that we
No,
couldn't.
your direct
comment.
words were, "We cannot comment on it."
That's right.
Right, and you said that they could not comment on it either, the public, because, I'm talking, because that the other side was not notified. Everyone in this township was notified of this public meeting. They had a right to get up and speak. It's called the First Amendment.
And the answer
That's all I have to say. I don't mean to badger you, but I found it a gross injustice last meeting. And I've been working with many of you for a long
As you
time.
can see, we've given everybody an opportunity
This
to say
time,
what they
well,
need to
that's
say.
because you learned what happened last time. I think it was, we talk about open government and things, and here you don't even let the public speak at an open public meeting. I think it was a disgrace. I just want to let you know, I thought it was a disgrace.
We did let them speak. They did speak.
No, they did not.
They did.
You let one person represent them.
Well, they had a representative at that time.
Well, listen, everyone that was here saw it and knows what happened, and I just want you to know that I find it disgraceful. Thank you.
Mary Reeder from Villas. I'm trying to understand. You appoint the MUA board, is that correct?
That is correct.
And you can do, well, see, I'm trying to figure it out. But you can't do anything to somebody who, according to, I think, well, according to civility, if not contract, would be fired for hitting somebody. And you can't do anything until sometime down the road. I can't figure that out. I don't understand how you can be both the appointee and the waiter when you hear the words of these. Well, you can't do anything. You can't put the board on leave or something. I don't get it. I don't get it. Why you can just say we can't do anything.
There's a board that's in charge of handling this matter, and it appears at the moment they are handling it. At least there's an investigation going on. No, at the very least, there's an investigation going on that we need to see the results of.
I understand procedure. I'm a Presbyterian. I understand procedure.
Hey, Mr. Dunn, his
But
paycheck a week.
Excuse me. You cannot do that here. This is our house in here. We don't yell out. If you want to come up and say something, you do so.
Everybody's yes.
Hey, wait a second. That's correct. But we have a sense of decorum in here, and we want to keep it that way. All right? You're having the opportunity to speak, but that doesn't give you the right to yell out. Thank you, ma'am. Go ahead.
Well, as I said, I'm trying to figure out how your hands are tied. Absolutely. You cannot answer, or you cannot act in any way when people are bringing, it sounds serious to me, serious charges about human beings. I mean, a woman with a heart problem is harassed. I mean, I don't get it. I don't understand your role in this. I do not understand. I'll go home and try to figure it out.
Ken Manning, Lower Township, former board member of the MUA. I'd just like to ask Mr. Beck, did Mr. Johnson work on your campaign? Now you got the reason why this is exactly where it's at. Because he worked on your campaign, Mr. Beck, did he not?
There's a lot of people.
There's a lot of people that work on it. So we know where
Any
we stand.
questions you have, you refer to this.
Now I'd like to ask, every single one of you have heard the tape, correct? And every single one of you have heard what Mr. Eckert said to Mr. Matzinger. You don't need an investigation from the prosecutor's office. You've heard it yourself. You guys can make the decision. You know exactly what happened, and you can make the decision. If Mr. Dunn was caught on tape doing that to Mr. Eckert, would he get 60 days paid vacation?
I didn't even have to do that.
So there's a problem. You have the chairman of the board who is working on your campaign, and this happens like this, and you just wash it and wash it and wash it. And that's what you're doing. Now listen, we're going to have some lawsuits here. There's going to be a lot of employees that are going to end up suing Lower Township MUA, or you can have Mr. Eckert. He can sue Lower Township MUA, and I guarantee you it's going to cost less for Mr. Eckert to leave than the other people.
Here, here.
I'm sorry, I can't hear your name.
Tom Quinn from the Villas.
Okay.
Like I said just then, I'll do it the right way. Since you're waiting for the investigation, you're giving him 60 days. Pay Mr. Dunn while the investigation's going on. Pay Mr. Dunn his money. There you go. Pay Mr. Dunn his money.
I'm sorry for coming up twice. Jesse Matzinger, 104 Rummel Drive. When the crowd here was getting a little out of control, Mr. Beck, I heard you say, need order. We need order here. This is our house. Well, that's what we need down to MUA, order, okay? Because that's the workers' house. That's where we work. That's where our family, we have to go home to our families. And that's what we need from you, order. Just like you guys wanted it here, We would like it down there. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Janet Pitts, the Villas. I never saw so much political contention in my entire life. This is a joke. You guys elect through the politics, or you appoint the people on the board. Maybe not you, previous council people. And then it turns into a political arena here of the expectation that you need to get rid of these people that you may have not appointed to the board. You put the board on there to run the MUA, right? They're supposed to run the MUA. Matt Ecker is their employee. All these people are their employees. They voted, did they not? They're handling this, are they not? This is premature for you to jump in. People are making allegations and naming people. I hope they can substantiate it, because there might be some reverse lawsuits there. People are getting a little out of control, I think. Everybody needs to take a step back, wait for the prosecutor to see what they come up with. I don't even know all the details of it. And I think that's the most prudent and rational thing to do. Wait until this is done. I mean, would people be happy if if there was 3 Republican commissioners and they voted for a different outcome? That would be different. I mean, that's what we're dealing with here, isn't it? It's all politics, and it stinks. Think about the ratepayers. Let the prosecutor do his job. Let them investigate, let them dig into the details and find everything out. This isn't the place to air the dirty laundry of employee management issues at the MUA. That's why we pay the county prosecutor. Let them do their job, and then we can make a determination when everything comes out, other than allegations that could end up in lawsuits between people of naming names that maybe you can't substantiate.
Excuse me.
Thank you.
Give her a chance.
I did, she's done.
All right.
That's why I waited. Well done once again, Villas. We're talking about premature. If this was the high school, and your son got hit by a teacher, and the school refused to remove him, would that be premature to you? Or a teacher? We have a gentleman that hit an employee.
Would you address your question?
It's getting to the point,
We don't have
nothing's
it.
premature when it comes to somebody's safety. When guys can't go in there without being harassed, followed into their lunch, all right? Smart comments made to them all day long. Is that premature? I don't see it being premature. Thank you.
Guys,
Yeah, George Doherty, Lower Township. I guess I want to find out, has anybody reached out to Matt Ecker and seen if he'd like to resign? Asked him, begged him to resign, or is that possible, or do we just have to go through this whole process? It seems like it's going to be very costly, and in the end, it sounds like he's just going to be removed anyway, so just trying to save taxpayers' money. Also,
Can't answer that question, we don't know.
Also, another thing, how long does a process like this approximately take? Just a rough estimate,
It depends on the complexity of the situation. I mean, it doesn't seem to be that complex to me. It shouldn't take too long.
Months, not years.
I mean, we've got allegations, we've heard what everybody else in this room's had to say. We haven't heard anything that the other side has to say. Well, I assume that there is another side, but I don't know. And when they consider both sides, they'll make a determination.
Now, how long is the appointment of is Matt Ecker's appointment for? I think it was just last year he ran for it. I also ran for it. You're not sure?
5 years.
It's a 5-year appointment. Oh wow. 2 more to go. He's got 2 more to go. Because I remember at the time when he was, voted for by council, I think it was him that actually threatened.
George, do you have a question?
Well, I did have to, but I just want to make another statement too. I believe when Matt Ecker was appointed, he actually asked for everybody's vote, and Glenn Douglas told him that he didn't want to vote, that he wouldn't vote for him, and he actually threatened Glenn Douglas.
I don't mean to. Are you thinking that he was appointed by us, Matt Ecker?
Matt Ecker gets appointed by the MUA commissioners, not the council.
Didn't something have to clear here? I thought.
No, it's a separate authority.
Okay, so never went to there. All right, I wasn't sure on that. I thought I remembered. Thank you. All right, thanks.
This lady's coming up, and then this gentleman here has a senior.
Hi, I'm Nancy Ems. I live at 104 Bay Ridge Road in North Cape May. I'm Don Ems' wife. Don's one of the employees that worked for the Lower Township MUA for 21 years. Never had an infraction right up until a time clock violation of a minute or 3 minutes. Want to let you know that you folks seem to think that it's only about the MUA and the employees. I'm here to tell you that my husband's being retaliated against, harassed on a daily basis, has sought out medical treatment and psychiatric counseling for issues that Matt has imposed upon him. And I want to let you know that it's not an employee problem, it's a family problem. If you folks are in charge of family and community, then it's your problem too. It affects all of us. And I would like your help. I would like to know, with all these 4 councils that have been appointed, not one person has called or contacted our family to ask our side of any investigation. So I'd like to know when the other council is going to actually start their investigation, because as far as I know, none of the employees nor any of the people associated with us have been contacted by any of the appointed council members.
Well, my understanding is they just did a resolution to appoint these 3 firms just last Thursday.
Okay, well, this has been going on for 2 months, and Mr. Barnes has not even contacted our family.
No.
Nobody has looked into this at all. Not one time, sorry.
I understand.
Thank you.
The way this thing is going right now, I agree with Jennifer's way as far as the political thing and back and forth. But people have to realize that in this township, there's 2 separate identities. There's the MUA, and then there's also the Township Council. They have a Board of Commissioners. I was on a Board of Commissioners for a period of time. Our decision will come up, they have to make it. They have to make those decisions before it will come to here. And it only had to be caused by the commissioners that this council could take action with it, and after they get the reports from the prosecutor's office and go along there, I know everybody's got a problem. We all have problems here. And each one of them, it's a hard situation. And I feel sorry for a lot of them because they're employees, if they're not working and there's a problem down there, there's a bad problem as far as communications between management and the workforce. And that's not going to really clear up until this matter is resolved completely with either the board down there, and that's their responsibility now. That's the Board of Commissioners at the MUA to straighten this out, and whatever they come up with, whatever prosecutors come up with, if there's cause to get rid of somebody down there or dissolve the whole board, that's up here. This is the Township Council will have to do that and take care of it. So until that time, the people should be trying to be a little patient. I know it's tough. It's very hard to do. And there's a lot of things going back and forth. And really, it's a lot of accusations, but they have to be proven. So any action can be taken. So, that's the only reason I got up tonight. Can sympathize with you, but you just have to be a little patient, and it's hard. I know it's very hard. You want something done, and you want it done now, but it's not going to happen because you got to go through the legal process. Thank you for your time.
My name's Joe Byrne, North Cape May. I came here for a different reason. I've known about this. And I have a simple question. It sounds to me like all they're asking to do is, can you all do anything to expedite this thing? It's a yes or no question. Is there anything the people that put those people in their position can do to expedite the problem? Because you have people that are out of work.
The actions of the board were just taken. We don't know that they're moving anything other than expeditiously. It's a big problem, and everybody takes it seriously. This board takes everything that everybody has said and everybody's problem on both sides very seriously. But, and it's in everybody's best interest to get to the bottom of it as soon as possible. To have it linger on is not only costly, but it's wearing upon all the individuals involved. Nobody wants this thing to drag on.
From what I'm hearing, the accusation, and again, I don't understand how somebody can hit somebody or go to somebody's house and somebody that is an elected official not stand up and say, wait a minute, we need to move this thing. And as everybody's saying, it's been going on for more than since last Thursday. So I guess I don't understand the political process that somebody couldn't go to somebody and say, we need to do something with
Well,
this
I think
Mr.
it's like-
Ecker, or
I think it's like any other process in the courts. Someone makes an allegation, they have to investigate the facts, find out what the evidence is, and make a determination. You wouldn't want to live in a community where someone could accuse you of something and then they just exact punishment without getting to the bottom of it.
and I don't disagree with that at all, but I'm not sure I want to live in a community where somebody who's been accused of these things, and again, I just heard this tonight, I haven't checked this as a fact. This man was given 60 days vacation, paid.
I don't think it's a vacation, I think it's a...
If he's being paid and he's not going to work every day, that's a vacation.
My name's John Habel. I have a house in North Cape May. I retired down here from corporate America years ago, about 10 years ago. I was a middle manager with a big company. And all I can say is that I'm appalled at how this township is treating workplace violence. In any company in America, if any employee laid a hand on any other employee, they were immediately terminated and then investigated. And when Jesse told me about this, I just couldn't believe how this was being handled. And that was over a month ago. And I'm here to support him. He's one of the finest young men that I know. And I just can't understand why this township is so backwards when it comes to workplace violence. It really appalled me when I asked him to try to coach him the very day after this happened, was why didn't you go to your HR department? And he said, I did, and they told me I don't want to deal with it. You guys have a problem. Because if your HR department takes that attitude, I think the whole place got to go. I mean, it's just criminal. That's all I have to say.
Anybody else? Yes, sir.
Tom Pizzoli, Lower Township, and I am a member of the Lower Township MUA Board of Commissioners. Anybody picks up the Herald this one, they'll find out what a bad guy I am, but that's okay. What I want to bring up is a fact. Statements were made tonight by people I was not aware of. When you discuss things in closed session and they remain in closed sessions, I realize that. When I had a scenario where an employee of the MUA, Janet Bailey, contacted me at my phone at home because somebody gave her my name and said I might be able to help her. She informed me that after being on a sick leave since the 7th day of August, and this was the week prior, the Monday prior to when she was to return to work, she had visitation from a Mr. Matt Ecker, who gave her a piece of paper, or a couple pieces of paper, and he gave her a directive. I want you to sign this, get it back to me, I'll pick it up Wednesday, you're to resign immediately, or I'm going to go and get you fired at the next board meeting. Well, I don't know how you people were born and raised, but my parents raised me that you do unto others as you would like to have done unto you. So I put my children and myself in the person's place. And I stated to this young lady, I don't think you should resign. In fact, I am advising you now, when Mr. Ecker comes back, that you tell him I said not to sign it. And I admit it in front of everybody. That was my feeling. Now here's where it gets bad. We had a closed session meeting last week, and I'm not going to discuss anything pertaining to closed session. The only thing I'm going to discuss is a statement was made to me that people who had read that letter, I'm sure you all got a copy of her letter? Nobody got a copy from this Janet Bailey pertaining to her employment? Did you or didn't you? Oh. Jana, did you send a letter to all council? Okay. Everyone got a copy of the letter. So I was told last week by fellow people on the board, they think I violated the ethics code because I should have backed Matt Ecker. Are they crazy? I stand my ground. I didn't do anything wrong. I am a commissioner. If employees are not comfortable with supervisors, executive directors, or other board members, they can come see me or call me any damn time they want. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jesse Matzinger. I live at 104 Old Mill Drive, North Cape May. I would like to ask you, well, the board a question. Why is it that Matt Eckert assaults somebody? Physically, like, he bullies them. Just that simple. And he's given 60 days with pay when this guy back here doesn't do anything. And he's given 60 days without pay.
Well, we're hoping to get that the investigation that the MUA has set up will cover the bottom of that. That's all we can say because it was the MUA that took this action, and they're going to get the investigation by the 3 law firms. The prosecutor's office is doing an investigation. When all is said and done, we should probably know every aspect of this thing from every side. At which point, it would be probably very easy to make a decision and to answer that question. We don't have the information to answer that question.
Well, what more information could you possibly need? You have, everybody here is a witness. I mean,
there could be other witnesses. In any investigation, they have to uncover the obvious and the not so obvious to just get to the bottom of what happened. Okay, it may seem obvious to you now, but who knows? You have to know before you act.
Okay, thank you, that's all.
Anybody else?
Pete Fitting, Villas. I'm a member of the board too, and we give the guy, or when they give the guy off for 60 days. The man come down today and violated what he was saying, and I still say he should be terminated. Immediate. That's the way immediate. He's got his own rules and regulations down there. If anybody hits anybody, they're automatically terminated. He did that, and he violated every one of his own rules that he wrote. So I don't know what can be done. They voted to keep him, and that's the way it goes, but he should be terminated immediately.
Hi, my name's Stephanie Lemon, and I live in Lower Township. I'm not related with the MUA except in how they benefit me as being a member of this community. But I came to this just because I kind of had an interest in what was going on in the community. But what I'm hearing is that somebody like Ecker, it has to be investigated. That's all. I understand that's our process. We have to investigate. Yet why were the employees allowed to be punished without investigation? That's my question. I'm a mother, and I teach my children not to bully. They teach in school not to bully. Yet employers are allowed to bully. Township employees are allowed to bully employees. Something doesn't ring right. And you're not hearing hearsay from those people. You're hearing, I don't know, most of the people in this room, I know maybe from other stuff, but if they're saying it happened to them, what needs to be investigated? They're telling you what happened to them. That's a fact. Thank you.
Anyone else?
How you doing? My name's Rick Ryan. I live in the Villas. Sir, if you were to hit Mr. Beck right now, behind closed doors on audio tape, would you have your job tomorrow?
Depends on whether you deserved it or not.
Would you have your job? That's not the question. That's not the question.
No, I don't mean to make light.
Excuse me, really not.
Excuse me, I don't mean to make light.
In my eyes, he does.
I would never do that. And I don't.
Slow down here. Let the guy answer.
I apologize for that. I didn't mean to make light.
It's not time to joke, seriously. People are without jobs.
The issue at hand is they're investigating that actual occurrence, okay? And if they come to a determination that it's just like that, it will probably be dealt with accordingly.
Yes, but you keep saying they're investigating it. Everybody heard the tape. Lawyers heard the tapes. Why would the township letting him be suspended with pay? Stop cutting people off, because you've done that a lot tonight. Very rude.
Okay, I want to answer your question. You said that they brought in a tape. You know, when you go into court and there's a tape is one item of evidence. It may be a very powerful item of evidence, but there are lots of other pieces of evidence.
I'm not asking fire him. I'm saying, why is he suspended with pay?
I don't know.
That's all I'm asking. I didn't say, why isn't he fired? I said, why is he suspended with pay? And Billy Dunn is not. That's all I wanted to know.
You didn't answer the question.
And I wanted to know, yeah, you never answered the question though either. Would you be fired?
I would
You hit
think they'd
Mr. Beck.
call the police, and the police would charge me with assault. But I will tell you
I'm
this
sorry,
much.
Mayor, that-
I will tell you this much. If allegations were that I assaulted somebody, if a police officer would take the report, it would be an item of evidence. There would be witnesses that would come to court that would testify in front of a judge who would hear the witnesses and determine my guilt or innocence.
Would you be
And that's
suspended
exactly
or no?
what we're suggesting be done. Let all the investigation be done so that an objective person can determine who's responsible.
I just want to know if you'd be suspended without pay too.
I don't know. I wouldn't do it.
It's not if you would do it, I'm saying if it did happen. Would you be suspended with pay or without pay?
It's a different circumstance.
Thank you.
And man, Lower Township board member, I'd just like to ask the board here, how long would it take? We all know it would take 24 hours for you to put public notice to have another meeting to take action with the MUA board, correct? Am I correct? It would take 24 hours notice. No.
72 hours. 72 hours, you have to notify the
72
press.
hours. Okay.
Yes.
We just found out tonight that Matt Ecker came down to Lower Township MUA. I ask every single one of you, if Mr. Ecker comes down and has a confrontation with one of the employees, and he does bad, or they do bad, or maybe a health issue arises from this, are you guys willing to accept the consequences of a lawsuit if something like this is going to happen, to not take the necessary steps that you should be taking? You should be taking. And have you looked at possibly removing Matt Eckert and putting him someplace else within the township and putting someone else in his place, like Mr. Bolt? Right now, just to run it.
For right now, how that's dealt with is in the MUA's hands. But I just heard you say something that I think someone had alluded to before, and that's that an agreement was made or a directive was given that he was supposed to stay away from the building, or certain conditions had to be dealt with. And if he's in violation of those conditions, then I would expect you to bring that to the MUA board's attention so they can act.
solicitor tomorrow morning, first thing.
So, and that's the way to deal with it. If he's in violation of those conditions, their board should deal with that.
And it should
Their
be
board,
immediate.
but if they're not dealing with it, it's a 3-2 vote, and you're sitting right here right now, and you have witnesses that it's happened, okay? You have 72 hours to take action, correct? Take action. Gentlemen, take action. Just do the right thing here. I don't care if it's political. I don't care whatever it is. Just do the right thing. That's all we're asking you to do, is just do the right thing. Because if something happens, listen, this is on this man's tape of all these comments that we've had here tonight, and if something happens down there, it's going to rain. It's going to rain.
And you guys are here saying that you're waiting for the MUA to make their decision. I understand that. What we're here trying to tell you is the process is not being followed down there. In 13 years, I was written up twice. In 4 days, I was written up 4 times. After I told Mr. Eckert that the prosecutor's office contacted me. Okay? I immediately filed a grievance. Was never asked once by any board member, any supervisor, to hear my grievance. Now, it's 10 days from one supervisor. If I don't agree, I go to the next. If I don't agree, I go to the next. In 2 months, I have not had my case been heard by anybody in the MUA. All right? I was presumed guilty immediately. They didn't follow their own process. That's the reason we're here asking for help from you gentlemen, because they're not following their own process. The process which Mr. Ecker wrote.
Didn't they just appoint a hearing officer to hear your matter particularly?
Golly, this is 2.5 months later.
But I mean, they just did on Thursday.
2.5 months later, they are not following their process. 10 days grievance, another 10 days to the next person, another 10 days to the next person.
Okay.
I didn't even get to my first part of that grievance. I wasn't contacted, I was given 4 write-ups in 4 days and told me they were terminated. All right? They violated their own procedure, and that's what we're asking. We're asking because they can't even follow their own procedure to do things the right way down there. We feel that you gentlemen are a little more professional than what we have down there. I mean, not what we have. We have 2 board members that listen. We have 3, one that plays golf with somebody, and, you understand what I'm saying.
I do.
Okay, so that's what we're asking. We're asking that you guys step in because they are not following their procedure. They're doing what they want, once again, which they've done in the past, and they continue to do until you gentlemen step in and maybe take the place over. Thank you.
Hello, my name's Karen Matzinger. I'm Jesse's wife. I live at 104 Old Mill Drive, and I've also lived here since I was 5 years old. Sir, I want to clarify something. You just made a joke about my husband being struck, and I want to make it be very clear.
I didn't make clear I was struck.
I
mean,
and I please let me speak.
for that.
Please let me speak, because I've been really calm until this point, until I heard you say that. I want to clarify that it would be okay for you to strike that man if he deserved it.
No, that was a joke, and it's absolutely not.
Why would you make a joke in this forum of that nature?
It was very badly, a very poor choice of words, and I take full responsibility for that.
I'm sure you will, sir. Thank you.
Marilyn Meikle, 224 Mindy Avenue in North Cape May. I've been listening to all of the comments here tonight, and it is very, very disheartening. I am a former teacher in Middle Township, and I am I usually look at my students, and I would like eye contact when they speak to me, and I have been observing most of you on the board. And there are some of you that have not given the speakers here this evening eye contact, and some of you are smiling, and I think that is a disgrace. Thank you.
Let me say this if I may. The council's heard everything you've said tonight. It's true, the council does the appointments to the MUA. They have a lot of things to think about after they're heard tonight, but they can't take any action at this time until they investigate all these things which they've heard. Things they've heard tonight they haven't heard before. I have been in contact with the county prosecutor's office, the chief of detectives, asking them to expedite the investigation. That's the only part we have. As far as the MUA board, they're an autonomous body. They're their own authority right now. However, they are appointed by this governing body, and the governing body's heard a lot tonight. And I can tell you it's painful. It's painful to me because they care about each and every one of you. I can tell you that. But they got like a gag order right now until they figure this whole thing out, and we get some conclusion from the prosecutor's office and the conclusion from the investigators that they hired before this council can make an intelligent evaluation or recommendation.
Thank you. Is there any other comments or questions?
Thank you for hearing us.
Yeah, thank you. We will act if it's appropriate to act, trust me. Or you'll hear it.
Motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.